All right. So, the last diagnostic criteria of DDD, at least at this point, is the indiscriminate use of identities. Um, you will probably switch back and forth between referring to yourself as I, we, us, you know, that kind of thing. Um, when you're talking to yourself. But when you are around others, especially if you ever get irritated, especially if you really get upset with any of them, you start to um, just kind of lose your temper. You could very easily end up going back and forth between us, them, me, we, etc., 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 and you'll mix it up in a way that you might switch back and forth and between these, plural and singular uh, identity words, um, like 10 times, 20 times in a period of 5 or 10 minutes, and or less. And for you, it seems as though it makes sense. It doesn't seem confusing. You might stop at some point and think, wait, what did I just. Okay. Okay, yeah, that sounds weird. But in general, like, you will follow it just fine. As if there's nothing bizarre about it until you actually come down, stop, and think about what you said. Whereas the people around you are just like, what the hell is happening? So, that's one. Another that you might encounter is um, sometimes a person will refer to um, us when they're around another person, but they're really just talking about themselves. Like not being able to distinguish between their own identity and the identity that they have around someone else. And this doesn't necessarily, that particular one does not necessarily point to DDD, but it is definitely a consideration that should be made when dealing with the possibility of DDD. That could be one of the ways that that person exchanges their own identity, their individual identity, with that of a pluralistic um, identity. And um, a lot of this comes down to the multiple personalities. A lot of it comes down to um, spending more time trying to protect yourself or trying to compensate for a lack of connecting with people, and other people start to form at the front of your mind. It could also be that you just feel so detached from so many different things that you don't really know who you are without you using other people as a reference point, or you default to using other people as a means of identity simply because you don't know what else you're supposed to do. You don't know where else that identity is supposed to come from. So you just switch between your reference points. and those identities and the communication between those identities and the switching of those identities, and it gets really crazy and really complicated really quickly. But like I said, a big part of this particular criteria is that it's an indiscriminate use, meaning, is it something very cerebral or is it something very instinctual? And the very instinctual is what we'd be looking for, because if you've got DDD, then, or if you're having trouble with DDD, then it is you're having trouble with identifying yourself outside of your dissociative disorder. So anyway, that's it for that last one. And when I think of what I want to cover in the next video, I will go ahead and start another video. But for now, this is it. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.